Hey Jimmy, it's Dean. I thought I'd do a really quick video for you just to show you my approach on how I write for Twitter and LinkedIn. So the first thing is that LinkedIn is my primary platform. That's where I focus my writing because that's where I believe my audience to be. Hey, say hello to Jimmy. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. So what I've done is, this is TypeShare, and I just want to show you an article that I've actually written and how I actually go about it. So a little while ago, I posted up an article about Freddie Roach. The whole premise about the article was about Freddie and Manny Pacquiao's relationship, and having a mentor is very, very helpful. So in this case, here is the copy for LinkedIn. But let's start in Twitter. And I actually do use Twitter, and it's been an interesting experience using Twitter. And the reason that I start writing for Twitter is I use tweets and threads. And the key thing that it does for me here is that it makes me execute with brevity. So just keeping it as short as possible, making it very readable. So if you have a look, this is what it would look like normally. So this is what the post looks like in TypeShare. And normally how I start is I'll start with an idea. I start with a sentence. It's something. In this case, I was thinking about Freddie Roach. I was watching some YouTube videos on Manny Pacquiao. And so here I start. So I use one of the formulas or one of the techniques that Dickie has mentioned, and that was, start with a context, a place, a person, something like that. And so here I've got Freddie Roach was an average boxer. And then I put some stats in, and then something along the lines of, he's pretty ordinary. With that, I format it, and so it'll look like this. And you'll see on the right-hand side here, where it's got thread, you'll see that it's got the spacing, and this would be obviously a normal tweet as such. Then the body comes in, I write, and it keeps going. So you can see that each one of these, each part of this copy, the way that I write it is so that it somewhat stands up to a certain degree. Now, once this is all done, I then go over to LinkedIn, and I will hit the, so here it's actually got reverted, but I'll go edit for LinkedIn. And in this case, this is what the text looks like. And so I will edit it so that it looks good for LinkedIn. Now, this obviously doesn't because I've got double space here. So I'll remove that. And here I would put in a double space so that the Freddie Roach was an average boxer. They have to hit the see more. It opens up. And then this is how I start to format. Now, when I format, I'll use things like spaces. I'll use an app like Text, which will then do things like bold. Well, here's an example. Hey, buddy, wait here. So here's Text. And if I paste what I've done, it's bold here. So if you click bold here, it's pretty straightforward. And then I copy that, and then I'll pop that back into TypeShare. So once all of that's done, the way that it needs to read on LinkedIn for me is that rather than like a series of tweets or one tweet where it's got like 2 or 3 lines, I feel that my audience is not really going to engage in that unless it's an image, unless it's funny, unless it's really short. Because I think that, as Dickie and Cole said in the course, these different platforms use slightly different languages. And so in the way of the old days where it was like newspaper, radio, and TV, you have to deliver the content or the copy in this case that's relevant to obviously the platform. It's all writing, but you have to execute that slightly differently. Hey. Wait. So let's have a quick look at what that looks like when I've actually published it. Here on LinkedIn, here on Twitter, I've got at the beginning, at the top here, Freddie Roach was an average boxer, etc., etc. And then the tweet then starts to unfold through the thread. Pretty straightforward. Normally I would put an image here at the end, but I didn't do that in this case. And then here on LinkedIn, this is what it looks like. Freddie Roach was an average boxer, double space. I've got... Okay. And then I've got here Text, as you can see. I've got the spaces. I've put in the breaks. And again, it's just so that like I know that my audience on LinkedIn, they're going to scroll through this relatively quickly. I've taken the advice of Dickie and Cole in the sense that I don't want this to be an emotional lift when they're reading the content. They just, people are working, they'll scroll through, they'll want to like something or they'll want to connect with people. And so it's similar but different in the sense, and that's why the way in which I post on LinkedIn looks like this. But having said that, on Twitter, it'll look like this. But all in all, I find writing for Twitter and then editing for LinkedIn is my strategy. And what that does is it makes me write with brevity. It then TypeShare then enables me to actually do the copy and edit and so forth. And one last thing, I have started to put in sort of images here. So right at the end, I've got this image here, and I've got the image credit there. Hey, buddy, come on. And so what I will do is once this is actually written, I will just copy it here, and then I'll post it, and then just fix up the editing on for LinkedIn. But I will execute the post from TypeShare just so that it's out there, and then it forces me within minutes to go and post up the LinkedIn post with the image. So anyway, I hope that helps. Share any tips and tricks. I thought I'd do the video. It'd just be a lot quicker than me explaining it and then kind of not make sense. So anyway, I've got description there. So all the best. Add me on LinkedIn. Would love to follow your content there as well. Cheers.